This is a podcast from Torfaen Voluntary Alliance. Hello, I'm Patrick Downs. Welcome to Word from the Third, where we'll be taking a look at all the big stories and news from the third sector here in Torfaen. Of the Word from the Third podcast, we catch up with the winners of the Torfaen Community and Volunteer Awards 2021. Soon hearing from Sabrina Cresswell, also Briony, who won the Young Volunteer of the Year, Matt Cummins, who is Sports Volunteer, but first, it's the Trustee of the Year from 2021, Daniel Crandon. Last year you won the Trustee of the Year at the Torfaen Community and Volunteer Awards. Tell me, what did it feel like winning?
I was shocked, to be honest. It was a massive honour, the inaugural awards. So to be the first one ever to win that award, I suppose that will sort of always remain there as well as being part of that inaugural process. So that was massive. But more than it being like an individual award, really, it showed to me that the team at High Street Fitness are really getting things right. And that we're out in the community, we're doing things for the community, we're providing for people, and we're working on people's health and well-being. So it was more of a team award really rather than an individual thing, although it was a fantastic night. Going up and speaking to Sean Holly and so on and so forth was absolutely fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So what have you been up to since?
It's been non-stop really, Patrick, to be honest with you. We've gone from strength to strength. I think at the time I quoted that we had around 500-600 members when I was interviewed on stage by Sean. The New Year's come in and we're knocking around 850-900 at the minute. We've expanded our sort of community pool, if you like, to work with alternative like-minded projects. So we're working on a bit of a project now with Pobble, whereby they're going to be coming in on a Tuesday, spending 5 hours helping their residents work on their health and well-being. We work with Kay Marsh and Torfaen at building resilient communities, and she brings a team of people in and members of the public to build on their health and well-being and their overall resilience on a Tuesday and a Thursday. We've worked with Torfaen and carers, we've worked with Pontypool Youth as well, and they've come in as part of a youth project over half term, something that we was trying to deliver during COVID, but ultimately outbreaks of COVID and things like that sort of getting away and restrictions gone away. But with those lifting, we've really been able to do that now and venture out more into the community. We've extended sort of our class timetable out. And the good thing about that is it's not sort of powered by High Street Fitness, it's powered by other people running their own businesses. So they come in throughout the week, they've got their own classes, their own business in their own right, and they take use of our facility and bring people in who are not members of the gym as well. So there's a wider community coming in, and the good thing is it's all people from Torfaen. It really is run by the community for the community.
So what drives you being a volunteer?
Giving back, I suppose. I've always been one to look towards public service. I come from a family of people who have been in public service, worked in the public sector. My day job is the same. I work in the public sector, sort of through Monday to Friday, and then driving this is sort of an attachment from that. Seeing the negative impact that COVID have had on the communities, seeing the natural decline of the high streets, which is why we look to take up big premises on a big major high street, and look to drive some regeneration into the community and give people something to buy into, which I think we slowly and gradually we've started to achieve.
Now, you won Trustee of the Year. Can you explain to people what exactly a trustee does?
So, well, again, when I spoke to Sean on the night, it sort of ranged from everything of doing, bits of bookkeeping, admin, policy making. We have board trustee meetings whereby we make sure that everything's running according to plan, in line with what the Charity Commission want, because we're a registered charity. But then on top of that, like the world's your oyster really, so I clean the toilets if that's your thing. You can come and clean some toilets and hoover the floors and mop the floors, and we sign members up, and I speak to lovely people like yourself and other businesses that want to come in and work with us. So it's a social business, that's the best way I can describe it. And being a trustee, you can jump in the deep end like I have and other trustees have, or you can be there just to make sure that things are working at the way they should be. We're managing our finances the way that we should be. We're here for the community and make sure that we provide for the community rather than just on an internal basis. So I think it's quite varying. You may have a different opinion on that, but I think it's quite varying, and you can effectively jump in the shallow end or the deep end, but I'd recommend getting in the deep end.
So if somebody's listening to this now and thinking, should I volunteer, what advice could you give them?
You've got to pull the plaster off and do it. We started off with maybe 4 or 5, and it was mainly the trustees really, and then a couple of personal trainers and stuff that were running their business from the premises when we sort of opened up May last year, when we were eventually able to open our doors. And before I knew I was speaking to you today, and I thought this question was going to come up, so I had a brief look, and I think we're up to around 23 volunteers now. And we have people from sort of 16 to 64 volunteering. So it's a wide, often I call us, like we're like a bit like a pirate ship. We welcome everybody, and that's the beauty of this. So whether you're working full time and you just want to give back to the community, or whether you're out of work and you want some work experience, whether you fancy a change of trade, for example, maybe you're a plasterer or plumber and you fancy working in the health and wellbeing industry, you know, taking high street fitness as an example, then, you know, you can gain different types of work experience. You can beat loneliness, you can just get out of the house. You know, we provide different training platforms and things like that. So volunteering is not just giving back to the community, it's also giving back to yourself. And that's why I think it's brilliant, and it should be, you know, it's beneficial to your mental health, your physical health, and it's overall just a good thing to do.
Next up, Briony won Young Volunteer of the Year for her work at the Hub in Blaenavon. I'm joined by Briony. Now, Briony was the winner of the Young Volunteer of the Year at the Torfaen Community and Volunteer Awards 2021. Now, Briony, tell me, how did it feel on the night that you won that award?
Very excited, happy.
Did you expect to win it?
No.
So explain to me, what kind of volunteering do you do?
Helping the community. We also do food share, welfare packs, just a lot really.
What would you say to any young person who is thinking about volunteering? What would you say to them? To go ahead, or to have an idea of how you want to volunteer?
I would just say just go. I think they'll like it because it's like a safe place to be, and yeah, you just learn a lot.
They seem to be learning a lot. What kind of benefits do you think there are of you volunteering?
Well-being, mental health, giving back to the community.
Briony, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm with Sabrina Cresswell today on the Word from the Third podcast. Last year winning the COVID-19 Response Hero Award at the TCVAs. Now, it's been a little bit of a while. What did it feel like winning last year?
Surreal, if I'm honest. It was really good. It was lovely to be nominated. It was brilliant to be a finalist, but absolutely surreal for me to go on the stage and have to do a little talk. But it was brilliant. It was a brilliant night, and well run and everything. And I was immensely proud that, you know, I got it. So yeah.
Because there has been a lot of work you've done since. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So we've put towards running a community cafe. We're just about starting to get people in for that. So it's going to be a pay-as-you-feel cafe. So people who can't afford to do it will be able to get food, and people who can afford it can just pay what they want, really. And then another thing that we're going in with Blaenavon is a takeaway kind of service where we batch cook frozen meals and then people pay for the meals. So yes, there's a lot of things going on at the moment. So
what drives you in being a volunteer?
Knowing that I'm helping people, because the work model for Tasty Not Wasty, we don't just get the food and keep it for ourselves. We share it out with 5 different food chairs now, and the community, and we've started up another site as well over in Fairhill.
So tell me a little bit more about what you do on a day-to-day basis with Tasty Not Wasty.
Well, obviously I have volunteers, but the daily kind of running of it, we open up and check all of the vegetables, make sure that the vegetables are all good enough to go out to humans. If they're not, they go out for animals or they go to compost or something. So we check that. We do boxes for the different food chairs. We then open up for the public for an hour or an hour and a half, depending on how volunteers can manage it. We tidy up, do sweeping, mopping, all that sort of thing. Clean up the cups, because we do teas and coffees as well. And then at around about 9 o'clock in the night, I come back here because a volunteer has gone to collect food from somewhere, come back, scan it all because of traceability and everything, and food hygiene, and then we put it in the fridge if it needs to go in the fridge, set it out, and then ready for the next day.
It's quite a busy day then, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Long day.
So if somebody's listening to this now thinking, should I volunteer? What advice would you give them?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely do it.
Definitely volunteer. So people can volunteer. So we've got ad hoc volunteers, so they're people that just do it when they can. And then we've got other volunteers who do like 1 hour a week. And then we've got other volunteers who come 5 days a week for a morning session only, or we've got people that do evenings only. So you're not dedicated to, when you say, I want to volunteer, you're not setting yourself up for, I'm going to be there all the time and I'm not going to have any time for myself. It doesn't work like that. So we're all a big team. So yeah.
Sabrina, thank you.
It's okay.
And our final stop on this little journey of the Torfaen Community and Volunteer Award winners of 2021, we catch up with Matt Cummins, who won Sports Volunteer of the Year.
Tell me, what did it feel like winning last year?
Big surprise. Definitely wasn't expected from my side. A real privilege to win the award. Sport is something that I've been a part of since I was a child, and now I'm on the other side of it in terms of arranging and running the club. I think to get any recognition for myself or the club was huge this year.
So, of course, the club you're talking about is Torfaen Tigers Rugby League. Now, what have you been up to since the awards?
Very much putting plans in place for this season. So our season's due to kick off now from any minute now until the end of September. Putting plans in place to make sure that we can push on with our message of being one of the more inclusive clubs in South East Wales. So making sure that our wheelchair team are provided for. They moved into a new venue recently. Making sure the junior setup is ready to go, getting coaches ready, and then also trying to expand on our women's and girls section. So a lot going on.
What exactly drives you in being a volunteer?
I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of probably quite inspirational people, I suppose, when I was younger, who certainly drove my interest in the sport and kept me interested and made sure that, the activities were there and available. And as soon as you step on the other side of the fence, you realise how difficult that could actually be a lot of the time. And running a sports club or any club organisation, seeing the satisfaction on especially the kids' faces, when you're providing a service, you see them enjoy themselves and running around is, you can't really beat it, to be perfectly honest with you. So that kind of drives the benefit behind it.
So tell me more about Torfaen Tigers Rugby League.
So, as I touched on earlier, I think we're probably one of the more inclusive clubs in South East Wales at the moment. We're offering rugby league to boys and girls from all ages, from age 8 this year all the way through to 18. We also have a women's section, 2 men's sides and a wheelchair team, which means we're basically making the sport fully inclusive to anyone that wants to come and have a go at rugby league, which is a big part of it for us. We've been quite established for a number of years, particularly in the men's game in the local area. But it's nice now to be particularly branching out into the wider game and making sure that it's not just a one-team club. It is very much an inclusive club from every angle.
So if somebody's listening to this now and thinking, should I volunteer? What advice would you give them?
100% jump in. 2 feet first and get stuck in. I think until you get involved, you'll never quite understand the sense of achievement and the sense, that you get and the pleasure for being part of something that genuinely makes a difference to a lot of people. You don't get involved in volunteering to get paid for it or to, I won an award last year, but that's certainly not the reason behind why you do it. But I can speak for myself, and I'm quite lucky to be part of a club where we have quite a large number of volunteers, and every single year these guys come back without any question, and it's purely for the love of being involved in something and providing a safe, productive environment for everyone, which is until you get involved, you'll never quite realise how good it is, but you'll probably be hooked the minute you do.
Matthew, thank you for joining me today, and thanks for all that you've done so far.
No problem at all. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, thank you.
And that just about wraps things up. So thank you to Sabrina, Dan, Matt and Briony. And here's to more special people going to be nominated and awarded on the TCVA 22, which is happening October 21st at the Parkway Hotel and Spa in Cwmbran. All the information you need to nominate and the event itself you can find at our website tvawales.org.uk. But that is it from this very special edition of Word from the Third. Thanks for checking me out. I'm Patrick Downs. And don't forget, if you want to contact TVA, Torfaen Voluntary Alliance, for anything regarding the third sector here in Torfaen, get in touch regarding funding, volunteering, any kind of support or governance. info@tvawales.org.uk. You can also find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at TVA Wales, or of course on the website. It's all there at tvawales.org.uk. This podcast is produced by TVA, Torfaen Voluntary Alliance.